Hey, mate.
Hey, mate.
How you going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, too bad. Not too bad. Do you have work today?
I did.
Yeah.
I had work. Yourself?
Yeah. Working hard for the money. That's what they say. What have you been up to since you finished work today?
Since I finished work.
Well, what's the evening look like so far?
The evening. Well, I was thinking about, making that trip down for the last time to record the pod. And I commenced the trip down. Got about 80% of the way. Realised I left the camera at home. So for the first time in 126 episodes, on the last freaking episode, I've left the camera behind. So I had to drive all the way back home, get the camera, and now it's turned into another late one.
It has. Look, it wouldn't be fine leg to full forward without one last shamble in there as we say farewell. Hello and welcome to another episode, the final episode of Fine Leg to Full Forward. That's an odd feeling to be saying that sentence, the final episode.
It's still kind of, we've said it so many times throughout today, like, how does it feel? How does it feel? And we keep asking ourselves the same question. And honestly, surreal. That's the way to sort of sum it up. That's what it's kind of like right now.
Yeah, it is. I don't quite think it's sunken in yet. I think, when this room looks a little emptier than it does now, I think it'll really click then. Maybe listening back to this in the edit, I think it might get a bit real. But for those who aren't aware, who missed the announcement on Instagram throughout the week, we're hanging up the boots. We're pulling pin on the pod after nearly 4 years.
126 episodes.
126 episodes.
Nearly 4 years.
I mean, as I said, like a couple of hiatuses along the way. I think I said that on the Insta post. I mean, it was a big 7-month break there, early doors, and we weren't sure if we'd ever get back to doing the pod.
Yep.
Not sure I expected the following 120 episodes after the hiatus.
Yeah, that's true. Because it was only six episodes?
I think it was 6, 5 or 6, or however many it wasn't. We weren't that long in, so to bounce back from there,
it's a pretty solid innings when you sort of go from 6 not out to 126.
And it's a good number. I think we've said many, and we're going to be spending a bit of time chatting about conversations that we've already had.
Yeah.
Yes, some might say it's a bit of a cop-out for a final episode. Some might say it's a nice chance to reflect.
Yeah.
But we've mentioned, you in particular, I've heard you mention a few times about when people make a century in cricket.
Yeah.
It's good to, get 100 and a bit.
Yes.
So it's not like you've made it to 3 figures and then you've lost your concentration and you've gone now. No, we've made enough of a century, right?
Yeah, 126 is like a solid, you've done your bit, you've gone on with it.
Yep.
Not a gigantic score, but like you've done a nice, it's just a nice clean number.
But you think about it when we used to play cricket.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. We used to play cricket.
Yeah.
26 would be a respectable total at our level and at our level in the batting order, right?
Yes,
so not
correct.
only have you have we made a century, we've then got another solid start on top of that as well.
Yep. We've made both of probably our highest ever scores in batting.
Yep.
Above a century.
Above a century. Yeah. I guess I kind of alluded to it just before as well about the room being a little emptier. Yep. There are a few reasons as to why we're wrapping up the pod. I think for those who listen regularly, you'd be pretty aware that they're becoming few and far between, aren't they, at the moment? And it's just getting a little harder to find the time. But we're saying goodbye to this house where we've recorded so many episodes. Tash and I are moving house, which means that there'll be no one left here.
Yep.
Well, until the next people move in, I assume. But yeah, we're moving house, so it's sort of it was a bit of a catalyst to have a think about what the future is going to hold, and say the timing's probably right, eh?
I think those two things sort of lined up, and those two things make it sort of the natural right time, I guess you could say. I guess that's probably the best way to put it.
How you feeling? You going all right?
Going okay.
Right?
Going okay. Right? I guess it's both, saying goodbye to the pod and saying goodbye to this place, because, it's kind of, always a part of me will feel like home here. So
yes.
Yes. Saying bye to two things. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the end of one chapter and the beginning of the next chapter for both of us, right?
Yeah.
If we I assume there's a few people who listened to episode 1. I think it was October 2020, and with COVID and the delays in the season, it ended up being the week of, or the week before, grand final
of that year.
Yeah. And it just seems very on brand for us. We didn't really have a brand back then.
No.
It seems very on brand that we've started a podcast, a footy and cricket podcast, obviously a footy podcast at that time.
Yep.
The week before the grand final. And it seems even more on brand that we're ending the podcast the week of the grand final. Yeah. 4 years later.
Timing, mate.
We've never really been great at it.
No, we haven't. So, running it back for the last time.
It's weird.
It's weird. Running it back. There has been some footy that's been happening, and despite this being our last episode, thought we might at least touch on some things that have been happening in the footy world. Not for too long.
No, not for too long.
But given that the bloody grand final is happening this week, the prelims have just happened, the Brownlows just happened, it felt like the footy world deserves a little bit from us in that sense, I think. So your take on the first off, Brownlow. I feel like that's probably the bigger talk of the town at the moment.
Yeah. You can talk about who deserved to win and who didn't deserve to win. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in that side of it.
Yeah.
45 votes. 45 fucking votes.
Yep.
I can't get behind the fact that from a Brownlow point of view now, that is the greatest individual home and away season ever.
Because that's what you have to compare it to, right? It's every season. It's not like the number of rounds or anything. Like, you can't. These things haven't really changed, and the scoring system hasn't changed. But long gone are the days where players were winning the Brownlow with 22, 23 votes.
Yeah. 45 votes. It's just, so I know Ollie Wines tied the record in 2021, which raised some eyebrows, but 2017, Dusty broke the record with 36 votes, right?
Yep.
And we all know what happened then. He won the Brownlow, he won the Norm Smith, they won the premiership.
Yep.
People who know me know my opinion on Richmond, but that is the greatest individual season ever.
Yep.
So to then have that beaten by an extra 3 best on grounds, I can't wrap my head around it. And then Dacos also broke the record with 38 votes and came second.
Yeah, broke the record but didn't win.
Yeah. And there's always games there's always games, every Brownlow count, where you're like, oh, how's that person ended up with that many votes? Or how's that person not gotten any votes?
Yeah.
I think there was a game where Cripps had 19 touches. He was kicking at 14% efficiency and he got 2 votes.
Yeah.
There was games where I think Bont had 30 touches, kicked 2. He had another game where he had 26 touches, kicked 3, had 0 votes in any of them.
Yep.
How he ended up with 19 votes. I think Lockie Neal ended up on 17 or something. Something ridiculous. How that's happened, I don't know. I just think the Brownlow's losing all credibility. All credibility.
Let them know, mate.
The night's too long. Even though we are definitely of the opinion that they need to add more awards.
Yep.
We have done plenty of those awards nights ourselves. I don't know, 45 votes. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Brownlow?
Hello. I was waiting for it to jump in front of the camera.
Yeah, luckily it didn't. For those, I'm sure you would have heard that. The mics would have picked it up. There's a foam panel that we use for soundproofing that has just fallen off and shaken the camera. Hopefully we're okay.
We're okay.
A little bit of shambles for the last episode.
Yep.
As expected. Thoughts on the Brownlow? You thought you got off the hook then?
I did. I was hoping. I had.
So just going to circle back to the thoughts there on the Brownlow, mate.
I was just like, yes, more things fall down.
Did you wish really hard?
I was just like, if I had superpowers, telekinesis, to make shit fall down so I don't have to talk about Brownlow, because I don't.
All right, talk about the prelims then.
Okay. First off, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, look, with the exception of 2022, it was classic Geelong September form.
Yeah.
I've seen us lose 2013 prelim, 2016 prelim, 2017, 2019, 2021 prelim, 2020 grand final.
Yep.
All have one thing in common.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't want to play the second half. I don't know. It was a close game, but we were fucking shit out.
Yeah, even in the fourth quarter when we
we kicked a goal to go back in front. Yeah, look, outstanding game.
Yep.
I mean, I was flat afterwards. I was stressed during, but I had us going out in straight sets.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, and I think even like you said, when you look at your season from that lens of like, did we deserve to be here or that sort of thing, that always makes you feel a bit more comfortable.
We finished 12th last year as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of Essendon fans at work and they asked how I was feeling and I mentioned that. I'm like, oh yeah, all these prelims we've lost, like it seemed like same old sort of story. And it's like, oh yeah, it must be really tough going for Geelong and, making finals all the time. And then I'm just like, well, I'm sorry. Like what I've done there is respond genuinely to the question you've asked about me feeling okay about the footy. Apologies for answering your questions.
Also,
there.
sorry. And Essendon fans were giving you stuff about finals.
And actually, it wasn't. It was a genuine. Are you okay?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. No, if it was, I absolutely would have clapped back. Don't worry about that. It was just, oh, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you could be a smart ass about it. I'm fine with that, but. You asked me a question.
I was just giving you an answer. Yeah.
But I mean, the role that Brisbane are on, I think, sorry, I went on very Geelong lens then, obviously. But the role that Brisbane are on, the way they came back against the Giants and, the way they came back against the Cats, the way they finished against us. I mean, they're timing their run at the right time of year.
Yep.
And then, I mean, as are the Swans, really.
Yeah.
There's periods of the season where they looked like they were by far the benchmark of the competition, and then they've had lulls throughout the year as well.
In the lead up to finals and everything.
They're definitely in the right spot at the right time.
We'll see what happens. I guess that's probably enough talk about footy.
Yes.
On to
us.
Which is kind of what we've been doing for the last year and a half, to be honest.
Yes,
like it's
absolutely it is. So I think I can't remember what we said earlier in this episode already. We want to take a moment as we're wrapping up the pod to just sort of look back at some of the, let's be honest, some of the shit we've spoken over the years.
Yep.
And for those of you who were at the 100th episode, or have listened to it, like I know we kind of did that a little bit. It's a little different than that. You know, there's no documentary. We're not making this into something that it's not. We literally just want to sit around and just talk about us.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. You can keep listening if you want. Otherwise,
yeah.
Thanks for listening, and you can tune out.
Strangely, I know you'd think there might be some crazy hypotheticals. There might be some crazy stretches or anything like that. But no scenarios.
No scenarios this
week.
No consultancy firm.
No consultancy firm.
We're just chatting about those times, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's we've mentioned it. It's 4 years rounding up. It's 4 years, and life looks a lot different, doesn't it, to when we first started the pod?
Yep.
I mean, we've gone from COVID and living together.
Yep.
Now we're living with our partners. I'm engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've sort of, in a weird way, we've grown up.
Yeah.
Through this pod.
Like, both of our lives,
which is
changed in like massive ways.
Yeah.
And it is kind of cool to see that this one thing that is quite special to both of us started then, and even though life sort of changed so much, it has been like a constant thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has been a constant for a while, because we were 24, 25 when we started this. Like,
that's wild.
Very much formative years.
Yeah. And that's exactly why. Like, all the stuff there where it was very much, I mean, like, I was living in Inverloch.
Oh my God, you were.
I was living in Inverloch. Remember the first few episodes, it was the Zoom calls and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if you... No, because you took the YouTube videos down, didn't you?
From the first couple of episodes. They're archived. Yes, they're still on YouTube, but you can't find them.
But I was good, with those ones. I remember, because the background there is the old place at Inby.
If you scroll down the Instagram page far enough, you'll be able to find it.
Find something. Yeah. But yeah, that was the start, mate. And yeah, it's wild.
It is wild, and I guess we could kind of touch on some of the, I don't really want to say behind the scenes, because that sort of implies that it's way more of a production than than it actually is. But do you want to sort of talk about, I'm going to say behind the scenes again anyway.
Just BTS?
The behind the scenes stuff that I guess people wouldn't really be aware is part of having a pod in general.
I feel like we might have already touched on this, like, just subtly, like, throughout in little bits and pieces. I can't remember. It's been nearly 4 years of talking shit that it's like, well, did we talk about it? Did we not? Did we just have that as a conversation off air? Or was that a crazy idea that we had, or did it actually end up? Was it just something that was in my dream, or was it actually spoken about?
You and your dreams.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
The first thing that comes to mind is, like, as I mentioned, so we started off with Zoom calls as the way of recording audio on the pod. So we had the audio and the video. And the Zoom calls, I think, were done in a way that the file would be recorded.
Yep.
And then was it downloaded and then sent to your email or something like that?
Yeah, so it'd process and then email it to me, but I wouldn't get any sort of notification
of it, right?
And unless it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a bit of a waiting game, and obviously often it would come through overnight. There was times where it just
didn't come
through.
Yeah.
Didn't come through at all. That was very, very much the start of it. Yeah, I remember we'd because I was living alone, but then going between mum and dad's, and we'd be on Zoom for hours, and we'd try and, I remember in the post production, you'd send me all the audio, and I'd try and line it up,
mate. Lining up,
that was that was a shit fight at times.
Nightmare.
And I cared a lot more about the audio back then because it was all we had and because it was so much worse than it is now.
Yep.
I have to spend so long
Cleaning and
tinkering.
tinkering.
Yeah.
That's right. This is sidetracking a bit. Do you remember how did we used to line up sound in any way, shape or form? Because I guess if everyone doesn't know, before each take we do Critch puts his hand up.
Action.
And just goes like that. That's a...
That's how I did that the other week and the mouse just
The mouse
flying.
But yeah, that never makes it into the episodes, but that's been a bit of stability throughout.
Yeah.
The little
and
cut.
Being on Zoom as well, and I remember having the little mic just on the screen, and what you couldn't see was the cut up plastic drink bottle. This is before I really invested anything in the pod. You know,
Yep.
you had some pretty decent equipment from
Music stuff.
but
yeah,
I had to cut the top off a Sprite bottle and was using the top as a mic stand, so I'd feed the cable through, and the mic would just sit on top.
The bit that you drink,
yeah,
you feed the cable through there,
and it would just sit on top, and come along a long way since then. We had that episode or two where we had Doonas for soundproofing. I mean, you can't see in here, but there's a bit of DIY soundproofing around.
So that was is that during the audio only period? Yeah. Yep. I do remember that. Did we put a photo up of us like?
I think I don't know if we did. I don't know if we did. I think there was a clip of where we were still doing Zoom, and there was a clip of me in my old lounge room.
Okay.
I had to put the mic under the Doona.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That was one of the last ones we did over Zoom, I think. Yeah. And also, obviously, moving house, we're packing, and you stumble on things.
Mm.
One thing that I found the other day.
Mm.
Where did I end up putting it? Under here somewhere.
All right.
So this is my fine-legged full forward notebook.
Right.
You have no idea what this is, do you?
I saw a note in the notes saying notebook, and I was like, I don't know what he's on about, but anyway.
So on the 15th of July, 2021, I wrote, you can see here, episode 7, We're Coming Home, and I would make notes about what the plan was for every episode. So record and edit Wednesday night.
Yep.
Upload Thursday. Post teaser vid Thursday. Post thumbnail and share episode Thursday.
Checklist and everything, yeah.
Post clip 1 on Friday.
Yep.
And I'd have detail about what the clip was. Post a story on Saturday. Post clip 3 on Sunday.
Yep.
2 or 3 on Sunday. Post a story on Monday. Notes for episode 8.
Yep.
If we got to 500 followers on Instagram, you were going to shave FLTFF into your chest hair. Apparently. Notes for episode 8, record on the Wednesday.
Yep.
Post the clip on the Friday. I was all these notes, #verify Brownie. Remember the time Nathan Brown was stupid enough to comment on on a post?
And we never let it go.
Notes on episode 9, and then it stopped. So that's an empty notebook there. 126 in. We've clearly that notebook's not done a whole lot. So
no, that's what spurred us along, mate.
Yeah,
we had the hiatus after episode. Was it 6?
6. It must have been. Yeah.
And then 7, the notebook came into effect.
7, 8, 9. We were the most
productive,
organized, productive podcast. In history.
And then we didn't need the notebook anymore. Because
we got a lot of confidence from those 3 episodes. One thing that was constant, though. Constant. What does that say there above notebook, man?
Oh, gosh. We're talking about shambles. There's no secret. We've had shambles since we started this thing. And it's been... I feel like shambles is a nice word because it takes many shapes and forms,
We'll put a hand up and say that there's many a shamble that has been our fault.
Yeah, like me forgetting the camera tonight.
To the very end.
To the very end. But one that has been constant for a long period of time, and one that I feel is the most frustrating because there is no way of justifying it and rationalizing it in any way, shape, or form
Just don't understand why.
is the robot voice.
Yes.
And what this is, and maybe some of the listeners, like you wouldn't have heard it, but you may have you may have witnessed it in a different shape or form in us saying we have audio issues or postponing episodes, pushing things back. All of this comes back to robot voice. And it is this weird glitch on the laptop where we hit record, we go through a segment, we listen back and it sounds okay, we do another segment, we listen back, and for some reason it sounds like we are robots. It is unexplainable because there is nothing in terms of the settings that we've changed. The mics are in the exact same position.
We haven't touched anything.
Inputs, outputs, everything's identical. And it's the most frustrating thing because after all of that, you close it, you throw stuff at walls, and then you do it again. And then you flip a coin, and when you flip that coin, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So ever since then, we've been doing audio tests as we do before every segment.
Well, audio tests are what we do when we test the audio.
I thought I was going to hear it. Had to sneak it one more time.
Yeah.
But even like throughout a segment, so sometimes we've done run it back, which can go for like half an hour sometimes.
Yeah.
For some reason, we'll start it off and it'll be fine, and then 5 minutes in, it changes to robot voice, and then we literally do all of run it back again.
Yep.
It is. I can't explain how frustrating it is.
The point of that little rant was, yes, there are many, many things we're going to miss about doing the pod.
Yep.
That's not one of them.
No.
That is not one of them at all. So if you are thinking about starting a podcast, I think we did an episode about like giving advice about a podcast. About starting a podcast. 12 days of Podmas. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So look, don't underestimate the value of proper equipment.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here to talk about, though. That is not what we're here to talk about. Go and listen to that episode if you can be bothered. Also, you don't have to.
No.
Can I tell you about something else that I found in
sure,
the packing and the cleanup efforts?
Of course.
It's also underneath, so I'm just going to step away from the mic for a sec.
Okay.
Well, one of them is your North scarf.
Hello.
I mean, you can have that if you want, mate.
I should probably take that home.
I'm not going to have much use for it.
No.
It's this. It's a clipboard. It's the clipboard.
Is that the?
And it features the bracket from when we did the boat episode, the baldest of all time.
Yep.
So what we the first episode we did after I shaved my head.
Yep.
And we essentially went through. So we gave each of the 4 sections of this bracket like a category, didn't we? So it was like AFL players, NBA players, other athletes, and celebrities.
Yep.
And we ranked them. They had to. This is how the fuck did we do this? And we essentially decided which one of them would win in a punch on.
Yep.
On a one-on-one punch on. And we decided after all that, so I'm looking, read some of the names out here, mate, that are on here.
Michael Jordan, Chris Judd, Paul Chapman, Andre Agassi,
Zinedine Zidane, Vin Diesel, Terry Crews,
The Rock, Shaquille O'Neal.
And who did we decide was the baldest of all time?
The baldest of all time, or the boat, which is the episode, was Jim Rash from
Dean Pelton
from Community. Clear winner.
Yes. Yes. I thought you'd enjoy finding that, but that's not all that this clipboard has to offer.
Oh gosh, what's underneath?
You will see what's underneath. I would like you to hold this, spin it that way for me, mate. Show the camera. Show the camera. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
This is a plug. That is day dot flutif, that clipboard right there.
Yeah, because we were definitely Zoom calling, I think,
Yeah,
still.
we
Because
were.
I remember just like very slowly bringing it up
Yeah.
on the camera so you could see.
So that's yours as well, mate.
Thanks, mate.
That's yours as well. I just thought, while we're chatting and wrapping up,
Yep.
there's a few little gifts along the way. So
Yep.
there you go, mate.
Thanks, mate. Jeez, it's going to be hard to not get emotional. I was like, I'm probably going to get emotional, but I feel like that the longer we go into it, the more there's a percentage chance.
You reckon?
Yeah.
It's increasing, is it?
It's increasing.
I'm
It's increasing.
surprised. I thought I was going to get emotional, and I haven't felt it yet.
Yeah. I feel
we'll
like
see.
it's a bit of a rush though at the same time. Like, there's so much stuff going on. You got moving and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
But-
I think the longer we go on,
Yep.
as you said, the more into the episode we get, the realer it's going to feel.
Yeah.
I know. I just I gave you that scarf as well, just on circle back to gifts.
Yes.
Do just want to mention that throughout our entire run
Yep.
of Fine Leg to Full Forward, North Melbourne did not win a single Flitif Cup, as we called it.
Yep. There were plenty of encounters.
Plenty of encounters.
Was there a point in time? Yeah, there definitely would have been when it was the Scott brothers versing each other, right?
When
No.
did Brad Scott leave North?
I don't remember,
Oh.
but I feel like there would have been.
I don't know if it was as recent as 2020 though.
Yeah, true. What am I thinking? Anyway,
I don't know. It seems about right though for your footy knowledge for the
yeah,
duration.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. People get about 23 votes in the Brownlow, right? That's how you win, right?
I know we spent a lot of time talking footy there. One thing that we have touched on is, did we touch on it or did I imagine it? Cricket. We've mentioned what have I just said there?
We've spoken. We used the word innings earlier in this episode.
Yes, that'll do. That's
Which
all,
covers-
That is all that I need. Thank you. One thing that we used to do, and I've listened back to some episodes here and there.
Yeah.
We used to talk about. We used to have a beautiful transition talking about what we were up to.
Yep.
And then transition into what we want to talk about cricket by talking about our cricket. Talking about the Pels,
Yes.
who a lot of the boys are a big part of this show.
Absolutely.
We'd talk about how we went on, how we'd absolutely cruise through the home and away season.
Yep.
And then lose a grand final.
Yep.
And tie a grand final but not win. And then absolutely choke a home grand final.
Yep.
How good's talking about the Pels?
That's good. Was that was Sad Boy, the Sad Boy Hours, right? That episode came after the
That
grand
was
final?
the one that we drew. The one that we tied but didn't lose was the Sad Boy.
That was the Sad Boy
Yeah.
one. Okay. And then when we got smashed, it was like, nah, not even a Sad Boy episode for that. That's just,
Yeah.
no.
But the Pels have definitely been a big part of the show there. I'm looking, it's got some cricket balls. I think you can only see one on the camera there.
Yep.
The trophy that I made for you when you took your fifer.
Yes.
That's another gift for you there, my friend.
Thanks,
you can,
mate. I'll take that.
Take that
home.
one. A lot of hard work
Was
went
it a
into
Christmas? Was it a Christmas present? Was it?
Yeah,
Or-
we did a Christmas
Yeah,
episode, I
that's
think.
right.
Yeah. A lot of hard work and masking tape and
Yep.
sticky notes went into making that. That there we got. I don't know if we've ever actually commented on that that frame there
Yeah.
with my 150 career wickets.
Yep.
What a whirlwind that was!
Because that was on the same day that.
So that was. I took fifer in the last game of the home and away season.
Yep.
To get up to 150.
Yep.
And then I took sixer in the semi-final.
In the semi. Yep.
And then I bowled absolutely fucking horrendously in the grand final.
I think we all did, mate. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a whirlwind the Pels, and obviously, yeah, that grand final when we were both out there.
Yep.
And we needed what? Was it 6 off the last over? Oh, mate. Oh, there's the emotion.
So now you're going to cry for a different reason. It's got nothing to do with the pod now. This is
just imagine the content if we were out there when and we'd won that grand final. I remember dropping to the. Yep. I don't want to do this. No, we're doing a happy reflection of it
doesn't have to be. It can be sad boy reflection if we want.
We haven't made that noise on the pod
in a while.
In a long time. Nah, come on, mate. Move it along. What are we gonna?
I mean, I feel like it's a good opportunity to think about ways that we've been different from the typical sports AFL cricket podcast, because I feel like there's a lot of sports podcasts, and we've had this conversation right from the start in terms of who we are, and what we like.
No one's going to want to listen to us analysing any game. We peaked at school footy, where I didn't touch the ball at centre half forward. And
because I didn't get it to you in the midfield.
Yes, you were the only midfielder. It is your fault. But then, we peaked at under 17s cricket, and then we couldn't win F grade flags. So, no, why are people going to care about our opinions about analysing footy? So we never ever wanted to do that.
No, it was never the aim, never the goal.
We it's fair to say we probably spoke about things that other podcasts didn't.
Yeah. Look, there's a few examples that we've got, and I feel like it's a nice way of just like capturing us in a nutshell.
Yeah.
What other podcast hands out advice to AFL coaches that might need to defend themselves after a finals exit?
Yeah, Straight Sets, wasn't it? That was
Straight Sets. That was the He's just Ken.
It's just
Ken Hinkley.
Yeah, there was advice like, it's all part of a bigger plan. We're gonna lull them into a false sense of security, or it was we want to improve them to elevate the competition to a higher level.
It's all about
for the good of the game,
the greater good of the game. Yeah.
There's no other podcast was ever getting anywhere near issues as big as that.
As big as that? No, probably not.
There was the episode we did where we were. It was like, what can people who bought a ticket to day 4 or day 5 of a test match be offered instead of a refund if a test match only lasts 3 days?
Yep.
And do you remember what are the suggestions we had for that?
So sometimes I forget that we actually come up with this shit, and it's like, oh, we did come up with this.
We were typing on a laptop, and then we closed ourselves into a room and started going, "Fucking, this will be funny. Let's talk about this."
Yep.
So instead of being offered a refund if a test match only lasts 3 days, the ticket to day 4 or 5 would get you access to the losing team doing a full PowerPoint presentation as to what went wrong in that test match. Explaining what went wrong, explaining what they're going to do to fix it. Yeah. And that was after. Do you remember? I can't remember who Australia played. But it was...
was it after the day-nighter that went for like 2 days? Or?
I can't remember. I think Australia might have lost. I can't remember.
Yep.
I think they'd lost like 7 for 53 or something. It was like they were just all going out playing sweep shots.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like explaining what went wrong. Why do we play so many sweep shots? It was, what are we going to do to avoid? What are we going to do to fix it?
Yeah, this is in the PowerPoint presentation.
We're going to stop playing so many sweep shots.
Yeah. That's the analysis, yeah.
Another big issue ticked off for the good guys.
Another thing that we did in an episode that we don't think probably would normally be done on a sports podcast would be
probably
probably not. How do we reckon home and away thank God you're here. Gruen and Play School, classic Australian TV shows, would incorporate cricket.
Like a cricket-themed episode.
A cricket-themed episode.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I think that was after the Bluey episode we watched. Bluey episode, the Bluey cricket episode.
Yes. How many times did you end up watching that?
A few times. Several times. 126 times.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, probably not going to get that, your typical pod.
No. And I remember that episode fondly. That was one of our better episodes. Talking about how good Home and Away is.
With another car crash or another...
Yeah, or an affair, or the diner's on fire, or there's a tsunami, or someone's got an illness. There was an episode where we drew comparisons between an AFL CEO coming into the position and a monarch being coronated.
Yes.
Was that... Were they two things that lined up?
They did.
So,
I think they did. It was like around the same time, and it was strangely one of our stretches that wasn't too far of a stretch.
So you reckon that there might have been another podcast out there that discussed that one?
No. No. And that's the thing about us, mate. Like the smallest stretch is still a stretch, and it's still pretty fucking weird.
Oh, God. We've spoken some shite over the years.
Another one, pitching the idea of My Cricket Wrapped. You know?
I assume that was after a Spotify
Wrapped.
Yeah. See,
of course, it was like...
These don't sound too bad in hindsight.
No, they don't. I mean, like, I'm still unsure why My Cricket Wrapped hasn't been picked up yet.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. You're looking at the... I can't remember some of the stats, but they were pretty funny.
You dropped this many catches. I mean, obviously, we're looking back. We're looking back through rose-coloured glasses. I mean, there was definitely some shockers along the way. There was definitely some stretches that we probably pulled a hammy trying to stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, now looking back, there's some like, that makes sense. That thing, Spotify Wrapped happened, so we idea of a My Cricket Wrap.
Yeah.
I'm looking back, definitely through rose-coloured glasses, and going, "Fuck yeah, what a show! I'd listen to this.
Yeah.
I'd listen to this.
Not a bad pod idea."
Switch on.
So switching on for perhaps the final time.
Perhaps
switching on for the final time. We have some. This episode is very much a reflective episode.
It's for the OGs.
For the OGs, going through the archives, going through everything that this has meant to us. So I guess the first question I have for you is, what episode was the one that you used the most to tell people what we did? When people approach you on the street, they're like, "Oh, you've got a podcast." And what's your elevator pitch? What's the first thing that you say?
A term that we used a lot was sport adjacent.
Yeah,
I say we. It's probably, I don't think you. It was just one that I used. I don't know if you ever used sport adjacent.
I don't think I used that. No.
The term that I used was sport adjacent.
Yeah,
I just say it's kind of sport, but it's sort of what's happening around the sport. So it's like footy cricket, but sort of not footy cricket.
Yeah.
And the one episode that I always referred back to, and I think yours might be the same, you might have the same answer, was the episode we did. I think it was called Bag Check. It was around 50 something.
Yep.
And it was essentially, there was a clip of a woman who snuck her pet cat into the footy.
Yep.
And so we thought of different things that we'd be able to sneak into the footy. We'd be able to get away with sneaking into the footy.
Yep.
So that was how I'd sum it up. I'd go, so we'd speak, but they'd get a bit stupid. Like my mate would say that he'd get away with sneaking a 32-inch TV into the footy.
I still remember the meme that you posted after that.
The giant backpack. Yeah. But that was what I used. It was like, sport adjacent. Like we're talking about what's happened throughout the week, but we're not talking about the sport side of it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the one that I use as well.
We never actually spoke about that.
About
the episode to use as the elevator pitch.
Yeah, no, I don't think we did, but we just both gravitated towards it. And I think it's because it's the loosest form of sport there is. Like it's there, it's at a stadium. The content is about the sport, but at the same time, it's like, oh, what could you sneak in? Like, it's very much that summed us up, I reckon. So,
yeah. Question for you.
Yep.
In this final switch on.
Yep.
And if you don't have an answer, that's fine because I think I do, so I can carry this if you need to.
Yeah.
We've mentioned stretches, and there've been many, many stretches throughout this run.
Yep.
Which episode would you say was the biggest stretch for us to create an episode? Doesn't have to be a stretch that didn't come off.
Yep.
It can be a stretch that you're like, oh fuck, I don't know how we thought of that. Or it could be one that you didn't think
genuinely didn't think of.
Quite come up.
I can see the one in the notes that you've got there. I'll leave that for you.
Oh, thank you.
To go through.
Yes, thank you.
I'm trying to think. There's been so many times that we've stretched, and it's been like
episodes where we've hit stop recording and we've gone, oh yeah, I wasn't sure about
probably
that one.
Wasn't too sure about that.
There were plenty of those.
Plenty of those. I'm trying to think. Time travel? Was time travel a bit of a stretch? Like I feel like that was just like I wanted to do something that was fun.
The choose your own adventure one, is that? No. The time travel one. Which one was the time travel one?
So we were like created a time machine to go back in time and revisit like historic AFL moments. When Nicky Winmar lifted up his shirt, when Hurdy kicked that goal, and went and celebrated with the fans, stuff like that. And I still can't remember why. So in my head, all I could think of was whatever the fuck the reason was, there was a big stretch because there is I don't remember there being a reason for it. So that's probably my answer. And I'm not going to say I hated the episode or anything. I love the fact that, again, what other podcast is going to do that sort of shit?
True.
Probably no one. And I'm proud of the fact that we're weird enough to do that. But in terms of a big stretch, that's probably a big stretch.
And I actually don't mind it either because I think we dabbled in the time travel thing
a bit
more
after that as well.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it'd probably be it was a Super Bowl episode we did, except we didn't do a Super Bowl episode. We decided it was during cricket season, and we decided to make a Super Bowl episode, but make it about bowling advice.
Yep.
So it was how to make every ball you bowl super.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. And it's just without that statement, and that statement doesn't really make sense, but without that statement, it makes even less sense. It's just, I remember we were trying to think about something for a long time on that one.
It's not the first time. I mean, there's been so many times throughout the 4 years. Like we have to come clean. But like, there's so many times that we just, like, especially when we're living together as well.
Yeah.
Being there we record Tuesday nights, being there on a Monday, both working from home, being just like sitting there and staring at each other and being like, what have we got? What have we got? The round of footy's already happened. Nothing's going to happen between then and now, like than the pod. But
yeah. And they were probably the ones that probably weren't as strong. The ones that I know we were. It's for a lot of the show we were at the mercy of what happened during the week.
Yeah.
But when there was something that happened that was a good idea for an episode, the idea came quickly and it was an easy one to write. We found the ones that probably were a bit of a struggle were the ones that we had to really, really sit and think and stretch, and they're probably not the stronger ones. Yeah, I mean, the more those ones were the ones that were more forced, and it's never gonna turn out to be the best stuff, I guess. But there were a few episodes that never came to be. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's a question. It's a question. Switch on question. Do you remember any specific episode ideas that we had? We sort of, and we've spoke about, like, we've had conversations off air and on the pod, and sometimes the lines are very much blurred between them.
Yeah, true.
Any ideas that came to you that were like, that never made it to the pod?
There was one that never. There was a few. I remember there was like outside of that notebook there was actually like a note on my phone.
Yep,
we'd start jotting down episode ideas.
Yep.
And there was one that we actually started writing and we just got nowhere with it.
Yep.
And it was like the opposite of a send off.
Oh.
There was actually, if we go back through the Google Docs, we'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
We started writing it and started writing the notes for it, and there wasn't anything that was coming to us.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think I'd given someone a send off.
Yep.
During a Pels game.
Yep.
And we were just like, oh, well, what if people didn't give people send offs? They did the opposite of that.
And they did some really nice stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that.
And it never.
Pretty shit idea now. I don't think.
No, but that's the thing. I feel like sometimes we have that sentence, and sometimes we had that with these ideas.
Yeah.
There was another one about rental inspections. So the when we were living together,
yeah.
The person that came around doing the rental inspection spent like, I want to say like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
For the entire place, left large amounts of, like, did a couple of photos. Like, I feel like was in motion while taking those photos, like walking past a room and then taking the photos.
Just drive by, not stopping. Just there you go, got it.
Yeah, on the way in and out. And there was something there about having too much trust, like the real estate agent having too much trust in us, in the tenants.
Yeah.
And it was a funny idea because I guess the story is funny and that happening is funny. But then there's just like, there's no legs to it because it's like, what do we do with that? And I feel like we had that a few times where it was like, oh, that's a funny idea, or that's a funny sentence. And it's like, well, how do you make 45 minutes to an hour of content out of a sentence?
There was one about being on autopilot. I remember you I can't remember, I think you were working from home and you told me that you'd made yourself a coffee.
Yep.
And then you'd forgotten that you'd made yourself a coffee, so you'd made yourself another coffee. You just went on complete autopilot, just obviously forgotten that you'd made the first one.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, oh, that's funny. That's something that's happened. You know, that's not enough to talk about for 45 minutes to an hour, like you said.
Yeah. It's like enough for a quick throwaway, like a relatability. Well, that's not really relatability, but like a quick stand-up sort of thing, like a one-liner. And it's like, well, that's not a set. That's not a 15-minute, 20-minute set. No. You're not going to a comedy club with that. So
you're just not up there for very long.
Yeah.
I mean, they were more of the funner ones. I mean, we made a few notes, like especially earlier on as well, about like careers that had bad timing and talking about guys like Brad Hodge and Stuart McGill. And then we were going to do a brothers episode.
Yep.
When the Mackay brothers were finally supposed to play it against each other a few years ago, and they didn't.
Until this year.
Didn't end up doing it. This year, So there's quite a few that we had.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that we wanted to make sure we had plenty of before we actually started the show. We wanted to make sure we're like, okay, well, if we can't come up with a good amount of ideas, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
So there was, to answer the question, some, were a bit more of a laugh than others, but there was a lot that never actually made it to air.
Money!
Alrighty, time for my mate's multi.
Bloody hell. Oh, that has been a long while since I've heard you say those words.
I don't remember the last time I said it.
I couldn't tell you the last time we did My Mate's Multi. We said this was for the OGs.
Yeah.
We said it was for the OGs. Of course, for the last episode, we've got to have our OG segments to see us out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we get into the multis, actually I've got some stats here. Let me get these up. I've gone through every single episode that we've done a My Mates Multi segment in.
Oh my goodness.
Every single one. So what I just said before, I was like, I actually do have some idea. I do have some idea. Do you want some head-to-head stats?
Oh gosh. Yep. Hit me.
All right. So the first stat here is the amount of total legs
Yep.
that have gotten up. Me versus you.
Yep.
All right, you ready? Any guesses? Give us. Yeah, I'll give you to the nearest 10.
Okay. I'm going to say, okay, how many episodes would have had My Mates Multi in it? I'm going to say probably maybe about, there'd be quite a few. There'd probably be like 80, maybe 90 episodes with My Mates Multi. And I'm going to say, we 3 legs in each. So if we're going by Brownlow sort of logic of 3 votes, so the max that we could get if all of our legs got up, 3 times 90, and that's an estimate, 270. I'm going to say that you got 155 legs up.
Yep.
And I'm going to say I got 110.
You've given me a big gap there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Are you locking that in?
Yep.
All right. I didn't look that up because that would have taken so much time.
I was going to say, I was like, this guy is literally moving this week. There's shit in boxes everywhere. And he's somehow fucking found the time to go through every episode. I was like, this is the biggest surprise. Like this.
I was then going to double down and be like, no, I don't have that, but I do have how many multis have gotten up. I was like, no, I don't have that. I don't have that. I would have been pushing it too far.
We do have My Mates Multi for this week,
We
though.
do.
We can't verify, as many times before, we just haven't followed up on our legs, and this will be no different. So
It's true. It's true. We are finishing as we always have done. All right, so these are... we've mentioned we're finishing up right before the grand final.
Yep.
Because why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And so, we've got a multi here to do with the grand final. So I'll kick it off with my first leg.
Yep.
For those who aren't aware of what My Mates Multi is, it's essentially, it's, you know what a multi is, right? Betting. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
These are markets that the big betting companies, they're too afraid to offer you. Just to give you some insight into what we're about to say.
Yep.
So leg 1. When singing Raw, Katy Perry will be wearing some kind of Lions merch.
I can say that. I can very much say that.
She's a big fashionado.
Yep.
But I can see like a lion scarf on top of whatever she's going to be wearing.
Yep.
Leg 2. Fuck, it feels good to be saying this. As with the Brownlow medal, which we all have opinions on.
Yep.
As with the Brownlow medal, there will be some kind of record broken on grand final day.
Okay.
Leaving that fairly open.
Nice.
As we've learnt, the vaguer the leg, the better.
The better. Yeah.
And then leg 3. There will be at least 4 different Guernseys in the crowd of teams not playing on Saturday. And because of the bloody Vic bias, they're all going to be Victorian teams.
Okay. That's a good one. I'll be interested in the crowd, actually, given that it's a...
You can be watching the game?
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to be keeping an eye out?
Actually will.
We're not going to verify these legs, are we? But there it is, my final My Mates Multi.
Yep.
First one in a long time.
Yep.
And there's my final multi. So if you care, if you're still listening, feel free to reach out and verify it for us.
Mm-hmm.
The DMs might be open. They always have been, but I don't know how long they're going to stay open for, to be honest.
Okay.
Do the same thing with the legs that Ashwin is about to provide.
So, leg 1 for me. It does feel weird, doesn't it? It's been so long.
It's been so long.
Leg 1. The player that kicks the first goal of the game will also be the player that kicks the last goal of the game.
I love it. I love it. That is a market that the big betting companies are too afraid to offer you.
Not going to touch it, right? Leg 2. At least one player on each team will be pantsed.
In like a tackle?
Yeah.
Right.
Like
okay. Yeah,
down.
that makes... Yeah, okay. That makes...
Shortsed.
Sure. No, I get what you say. Yeah. No.
Dacked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
And leg 3, at least one person, might not be a player, might be someone on the ground, will trip during the post-game sort of when the camera's out there and the celebrations are happening and the chaos is all happening. Someone is going to stack and eat it.
So you're wishing for people to be dacked and stacked.
Yeah.
It's a very, very toxic multi you're offering up there.
Yeah, I've definitely changed, mate.
That's your My Mates Multi legacy, by the way.
That's it.
You're comfortable with that?
That's how I'm closing it all, yeah. I've changed throughout I've become interested in confrontation as the years have progressed, and I'm now this person that wants to see a bit of this and that.
That's my boy.
And again, there's no one to verify this, so if they get up, they get up. If they don't,
no one's going to know. Shambles to the very end. We're ending as only we can. We've just recorded our final outro, and we look up and the camera's died. In the most flippant way possible.
And the worst part is, it was during the emotional crescendo when we're saying our goodbyes, pouring our absolute hearts out to all of you and to each other. And now we have to do it again, and it's going to feel a little fake.
So yeah,
when we do it this time.
Bear with us as we try to recreate that once in a lifetime moment. But I think I started off by saying the siren has sounded. I think that's what I said. So yeah, the siren has sounded on the podcast. Fine-legged, full forward, finito.
Correct.
And there's probably, well, I know what to say because we've already said it. Thank you to all the listeners. We know we haven't built the biggest community with this podcast, and that's, from our point of view, it's never what it's about, and it was never going to be about that for us. But we're aware of those who've listened or watched week in, week out, and if you are listening, you're watching, you're sharing, you're liking, you're commenting, you're messaging, or I think I've said on Instagram, having chats in person, it's appreciated just beyond words, the support that we've felt for, the last 4 years. It's beyond words.
It is. It really is. It's, this means so much to both of us, and it's one of those things where, we would probably do it regardless of who's listening because of how much we get out of it. But that doesn't mean that for those of you that are listening, that doesn't take any weight away from that. When we sort of imagine you driving to work, taking the train to work, or just doing your own thing, got the headphones in, and you give up that time in your day to spend it with us here talking shit, creating hypotheticals and that sort of stuff. It really does mean the world.
It's crazy that anyone listens. Like you put it like that. The wording you've just used there about, spend the time with us.
With us. That's because that's exactly what
it is. Yeah.
What it is.
And that's crazy that however many people have chosen to spend that time with us.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's more than one.
Yeah.
More than us. Like that is something I'm never going to be able to wrap my head around. And it's something that we are just super, super thankful for. And it's, I think it's just important that we take a moment to reflect on that.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I want to say thank you to you as well, mate. I mean, we chatted. We've told the story before about how the pod started, but we chatted about it for a while. I came to you with this idea, and we wanted to make sure that it was something that we really wanted to do. We both never really done anything like this before, so the fact that you've been on this journey with me for the last, rounding up again, 4 years. It's it's been awesome to have you sitting there next to me, and there's no one else I'd rather do a sport adjacent podcast with, my friend. No one in the world.
Thanks, mate. Well, we're already best mates before this started, obviously, and I think this and living together, it's all one kind of chapter in our lives.
Yeah, it
and
is.
it's a bloody awesome chapter, and I'm so glad that we've had it. And I want to say thanks to you, mate, for being the brains behind it, for starting this all off. None of this would have ever happened. I never had an idea for a pod or had any intention or thought behind it, and you came to me with the idea, and I was just there for the ride. So it really means a lot to me that you pitched the idea and you gave me this opportunity to be creative in a different way. So love you very much for that, and thanks again, mate.
No, love you too, mate. Love you too. Fuck. What else is there to say? Like, we're dragging it a little bit, I think, but we've never really imagined it ending.
Yep.
But I also couldn't have imagined a better way for it to end, because we've mentioned it's a chapter of our lives, this place.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we didn't just stop one day and then say, oh yeah, no,
and that's it.
We're not going back to the pod. The fact that we've been able to be lucky enough to go back and reflect on some of the absolute garbage we've spoken over the years. So that's just something else that I think we're both super thankful for.
Absolutely. Well, if there's nothing else, do you want me to do the old sign off one last time?
Please sign us off for the final time. I will leave you with goodbye and thanks for everything.
We love you. Keep kicking goals and keep hitting sixes.
Good shit, mate. Good shit.